On the US All Spot, we had an interesting situation here yesterday, prior to the FOMC meeting. And so let's run through how the week started for us here on the US All Spot. So at the beginning of the week, we saw here how price action was caught within a range, just within the $70.10 level and the $69.30 level. And this gave us a simple flat channel to work with for the week. And you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of simple flat channel. We want to wait for price action, wait patiently for price action to give us a signal to either buy or sell, which normally comes in the form of either a breakout of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And at the beginning of the week, we saw our price action broke down the support line here at the $69.30 level to give us a signal that we might likely be going bearish for this week. And in order to help us guide our trading opportunities, we identified a trend line which has been holding since last week Thursday, and when we connected the series of lower highs, we had a trend line to work with as well. And during the live session, we acknowledged that we want to see price action come back to retest the trend line to give us an opportunity to sell, and we saw what happened. Price came back, retested the structure, and with a sell stop order below the $68.63 level, we had our first sell position for the week triggered. And since that moment, we rode the move all the way to the downside, where it hit our TP target, giving us about 170 pips in profit on that one. And we also had the privilege of adding more positions at the breakdown of the $67.80 level, which also gave us about 95 pips in profit. So at the beginning of the week, we've already scooped over 250 pips. So we were already profitable on the US All Spot at the beginning of the week. Then on Tuesday, we had a simple situation here where we identified that sellers were finding it difficult to break through the $67 area. That was around this area. So as a result of this, we identified that area as our new demand zone. We saw a rejection here. Sellers found it difficult to break through. The same thing also happened again. And at this point, we decided that we are going to be looking out for buying opportunities. And in addition to that demand zone, we connected the series of higher lows, which gave us a trend line that we were supposed to use to guide our trading activity on Tuesday. And one thing we said here on Tuesday is that we are going to be waiting for a breakout retest of the $67.80 level to confirm the potency of this bullish move. And since then, we have been in a buy position. And if you look at what happened in the last 48 hours, we saw our price action move over 280 pips in our favor since the breakout of the $67.80 level. And we also had the privilege of maximizing the potential of that move by adding more position at the breakout of the $68.63 level, and price action moved over 200 pips since that moment. So it was quite a profitable week, at least for the first half of this week, as we never had any stop losses at all. Price action just continued to find higher highs. And during our live session yesterday, we were around this point here where we witnessed this whole consolidation phase, where price action was ranging between the $70.65 level, that is this area here, was the resistance line, and then we had the $70.10 level where price action was finding support at. So one thing we agreed here yesterday is that we are going to be having a buy stop order above the $70.65 to join a bullish move if price action breaks out of that structure, and if price action breaks down the support line at the $70.10 level, we are going to be having a sell position triggered. And as you can see, we saw sell position triggered, and I told us all yesterday that depending on how price action reacts to the $69.30 level will determine if we are going to be adding more sell position or getting ready for another bullish move. But as you can see, we saw how price action broke down the $69.30 level, retested it a couple of times to incite another wave of bearish momentum. So it was another profitable sell position for us yesterday. As we saw on this first position, price action moved close to 200 pips on the first one, and price action also moved about 100 pips on the second position. So we had a roughly of 300 pips on that one, and I do hope that you moved your stop losses accordingly. Like we always emphasize here in this community, that whenever price action moves significantly well in our favor, we want to be moving all stop losses to secure the position. And if you had done that appropriately, you would have been taken out at this point with some profit, maybe roughly about 200 pips thereabout, depending on where you placed your stop loss. Now, congrats to everyone who has been part of the profitable journey so far this week on the USOIL spots. Now that we're heading into the New York session today, what is going to be our plans and how do we intend to take advantage of any potential trading opportunity during the New York session today? Well, one thing we have observed here since the beginning of the week was that price action was looking more of a bullish following the bearish move on Monday. We had a trend line to emphasize that after connecting the series of higher lows. And you know how we use our trend lines. As long as price action remains above the trend line, we want to feel comfortable in the buy position and look out for more opportunities to buy. But one thing we've observed here during the New York session yesterday was the fact that the trend line was finally broken, which happens to be the first time price action will break down that trend line during the course of this week. Now, the question to ask at this juncture is that the breakdown of this trend line, will it turn out to be a true breakdown or a false breakdown? And if we look at things from a technical standpoint, we expect that when price action breaks down of a key structure, just like this trend line that was broken, we expect that one point in time, price action will come back, retest that structure to incite a trend continuation to the downside. And with the look of things right now, price action is gradually moving closer to that zone. So we have the trend line here. So the question now is, will price action come back to retest the trend line to incite a bearish move to the downside? Or will price action break above the trend line to come back to dictate the bullish pace in this market? So in order to help us guide our trading activity today, I was able to identify a simple setup that I think we can use to guide our trading activity going forward. And the first thing I did here this morning, while trying to decipher what is really going on from a psychological perspective, I understood here that sellers were finding it difficult to break through the $68 level. We saw what happened here during the later part of the New York session, where buyers negated the attempt by the sellers to break through. We also saw the same thing happen during the early hours of today to give us a signal that we might likely be having a new demand zone for the second half of the week. And with an engulfing bullish candle springing out from the structure, it appears price action gradually transitioned into what looked like a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure. Now, if we look at this structure closely, considering the impulsive move that started yesterday, you will see what it looks like now. Price tested it, came back into the $68.60 level, then came back again. Price was unable to break down below the previous low. We saw an engulfing bullish candle bringing price back into the structure. Now, if you look at this, it's looking more like a double bottom structure. And whenever we start identify the potential that price action is transitioning into a double bottom structure, the next thing we want to be doing is to identify the neckline of the structure, which we are going to be using to validate the potency and confirm that this is a true reversal pattern. So the next thing we want to do is to identify the neckline, which coincidentally is situated along the $68.60 level. And with this kind of situation here, what we are waiting for is a breakout retest of this neckline to give us the confirmation that we now have a reversal pattern. So this morning I had a buy stop order above that $68.60 level, with the hopes that I will be joining a bullish move. And as you can see, the buy position has been triggered and price action is currently running with about 20 pips in profit. So at this point in time, we continue to monitor how price action will be reacting to this level. And one thing for sure here is that price action has been within a range since the New York session yesterday to emphasize the level of indecision in this market. But one thing is quite clear here is that price sellers are finding it difficult to break through the structure. And at this point, I want to be looking out for more opportunities to buy the US oil spot for today. So if you are taking advantage of this buy position, well done to you for being on standby to catch that one. Let's see how far this momentum is going to go. And if you had missed out on that opportunity, well, let's see if the market will present us with another chance to maximize this move. Now, since we already have a breakout of the neckline, and there is still a chance that price goes to come back to retest the $68.60 level at one point in time to help us be part of this move. So if you had missed out, you want to wait patiently for new structures to mature, which one of them is price coming back to retest the $68.60 level before another wave of bullish momentum will happen. So that is one way to join this if you had missed out on that first position. Now, secondly, we have another post level at the $68.28 level, a level which has also been a major determinant of price action in the last 24 hours. So if price does not come back to retest that structure, then we want to be having a buy stop order above the $69.28 level to be part of another opportunity to buy. Now, with the situation we have here, we might want to wait for something like this to join, and then if price continues to go to the upside, then a breakout of the $70.50 level will also welcome more opportunities to maximize this move. So that is how we are going to be looking out for buying opportunities for today. So this means that as long as price action remains above that $68 level, we shall feel comfortable in our buy position while we also look out for more opportunities to maximize this move. Now, in as much as we're looking out for buy position here, you know how we do it in this community. We don't want to be fixated on one idea. We want to keep our options as open as possible, and as a result of this, we want to also take into consideration the potentials that the sellers have in this market. And if we consider the impulsive move yesterday that broke through that ascending trend line that we identified at the beginning of the week, it is very reasonable of us to consider selling opportunity as well. So what do we want to see on this chart that will make us to sell the US oil spot for today? Well, personally, I would rather see price action take out all the buy positions along the $68 area, which you can see here has been negating all sellers' attempts, hereby revealing the strength of the buyers around that area. So for me to sell for today, I want to see price action break through the structure. Then at this point, I scale down into my lower time frame to look out for further confirmation that sellers are still strong in the market, like a retest of structure to be able to join the trend continuation to the downside. So that is how we are going to be selling the US oil spot for today. So we are waiting for the breakdown retest of the $68 level. Now, to further make things a little bit more easy for us today, we want to identify a trend line which we are going to be using to guide our trading activity. And if you look at what has been happening since the early hours of today, you will see how price action has found higher lows in this market. This is the lowest point price action has been for this week. That is the $68 level. And we also had a higher low here around the $68.30 area. So at this point, we have higher lows. So what we are going to be doing now is to bring out our line chart, connect the series of higher lows so that we can have a new trend line that we shall be using to guide our trading activity for today. And what this simply means is that as long as price action remains above this trend line, we shall feel comfortable in our buy positions while we also look out for more opportunities to buy. But if at any point in time we see price action break through this trend line to the downside, then at this point we can start considering selling the US oil spot. But one thing for sure here is that we are not getting too excited we are not having a sell stop order at this point, as we need some further confirmation to happen before joining or thinking of selling. So for us to sell at this point, we will scale down into our lower time frame after price action break through the trend line. Then look out for structures that like reversal patterns or signs that sellers are negating all attempt by the buyers to break back above the trend line. Then at this point, we want to start considering selling. Then we'll have a sell stop order below the $68 area to maximize that move all the way to the downside. So this is the only reason, this is the only way we shall be thinking of selling, only if price action break through the trend line that we have here. So let's be on standby to catch any of these opportunities. So let's see how things plays out from this current structure, and mark this out on your chart. Have your trend line marked out, have your $69.28 level marked out on your chart, and also the $68.60 area, which a retest of that structure will be welcoming more opportunities to buy the USOIL spot today. So that is that on the USOIL spot. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section.